All right, so it is session 21 of Red Dagger or Red Halo Core. It's been a while since the last session, so I'll do the recap. So last session, you guys decided to make your way down to Chez Elias, which is the in Upper North Edge. It is a community primarily full of Aranali elves, which Corlina is also an Aranali elf. And so you guys followed her there, and you watched her go into the post office and then also stop at a alchemy shop called the House of Repose. Along the way, you, Dag and Jofar, attempted to use a corpse flower type plant as a means of trying to get in with the doorman where Mycon lives. Prior to that, you guys stopped at the House Civis post office to pay for the knowledge of where Mycon lives. So between the plant and the and that requisition form, you guys spent about 19 gold pieces, 19 Galifar. Although Dag did nab a dragon shard quill from the gnome. And then from there, you guys went to the doorman. He was very strict and by the rules. Dag, despite his efforts, couldn't break through his hard exterior and was forced to leave the plant with the doorman. Jofar attempted to just stand right there in front of the building to watch it. The doorman was not happy with this and then used a bit of spell work to, as Kurt said, ensorcel Jofar to get him to walk away from the apartment. From there, you guys kind of had staked out the place from down the street at a restaurant. And you guys had a meal there. It cost you a little bit over 4 Galifar. And then you guys continued following Corlina until she went to that House of Repose. She looked very scared and anxious all along the way. And then while watching her from the House of Repose, Hamarath visited an orchard where he purchased one of their spiky rinded fruits for sovereign. And then also Hamarath got a note to his contact, who is also a medium, Arius Cyanodel. You also learned that Mycon Pain Dragon is not actually an Aranali elf, which is strange given that this is a pretty closed community. But the information that you have, and based on the knowledge that you have, you suspect that he's also likely a medium as well, and is either training here or has been trained here. And so it is now the evening of the 12th of Olarum, and you guys were still in Chez Elias when we ended last time. Does anyone else remember anything that I missed, or have anything they'd like to add?
So we followed Corlina from that residence, and she went to the post office. And I remember Dag went in there to just make sure she didn't sneak out the back, and that's when I pilfered the quill.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember much happening after that. So I think there was a question of, okay, she's here. Are we really going to just keep following her or not?
Mm-hmm.
And I think some of us resigned to say, yeah, let's head back, especially since it seemed like we were being watched.
Yeah. So here in Shalias, you guys stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
And like I said, it is a pretty closed community.
And they had this whole Day of the Dead thing going on.
Right. And, while they do have visitors and tourists and things like that, typically they act a bit differently than you guys. And they can kind of sniff out that they're not quite sure why you guys are all there. So people are a little bit suspicious of your group.
So we left. Didn't we go outside the city? Didn't we go outside the city? And we were going to wait to go back in.
I actually thought we agreed that we were going to head back, and maybe that's when you went off to, or somebody went off to the medium, or was that earlier?
I'm not sure. I'm not remembering.
Because the reason because I think we ascertained that a couple of us had the ability to disguise as Aranelli elves. So we were going to leave. Hammereth being one of them. I can't remember the other character that had the ability. Sharp. They had the ability to disguise. So we were going to go in and as elves and continue kind of reconnaissance.
Yep, I remember that.
Oh.
So it was going to be Sharp, and who was going to stay?
Hammereth would also go.
And then the rest of us were going to head back.
Okay.
That was the plan anyway. Since Sharp isn't here, we could go with a different plan that would involve the people who are here.
Well, I mean, it's either way. I think the outcome might be similar, but it's up to you guys how you want to do it.
You think the outcome might be similar as last time?
No, not as last time, but so we could still go with, the rest of the group heading back to the Sparkling Alchemist while you and Sharp continue the reconnaissance.
Okay.
Is that what you guys want to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that works for me.
All right. So, Dag and Joe, you guys head back to the Sparkling Alchemist. By the time you guys get back, it's probably about 8-9 o'clock in the evening. So, while you guys are traveling, Hammereth, do you want to describe what your character looks like as they take on the disguised self?
So let's see. Hammereth is a dwarf, so he appears he'll be probably on the shorter end of the Aranali elves because I understand they're a little bit taller breed, so he might be like a runt. But as he kind of transforms, he pulls out of his pack a vial, and the vial has like a goat, like a black inky substance. When he downs it, he starts changing from the feet up. So as he's going, as it goes up, he's wearing earthen trousers. His skin has the designs on it, the tribal designs of the Aranali elves. At least I picture that they're kind of like tribal tattoos of sorts. He does take his foot. He is a foot taller. As it goes up, he's wearing like a leather jerkin, and has like a big swirl on his face. Like actually two, one on each cheek. In the design of the Aranali elves.
Kind of like Jigsaw.
What?
Kind of like Jigsaw.
Uh-oh. Am I cutting out?
No, we're hearing you. Are you not hearing us? Or are you guys not hearing me?
I hear you.
Okay. I said like Jigsaw.
You like Jigsaw? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't hear you. You are cutting out here and there. I'm not missing much, but I'll miss like a few words.
Okay.
That's probably just me though.
Okay.
So.
How much contact outside of this visit to Shea Elias has Hammereth had with Aranali elves?
The only contact he would have had would be so one of the things during the last session is he went to the post office and he sent mail to his old wartime buddy, who was an Aranali elf. And
Arius
he might have
Cyanodal.
Yeah, area Cyanodal. So he would have he might have been here a couple times to like meet up for drinks. If that's a thing. But he would like that would probably be the extent that he would be coming to this part of town.
Okay. So then I imagine you're probably basing a lot of your disguise on things similar to Arius.
Yes.
Okay.
And like what other like kind of mimicking what like since we were just in there, like mimicking what we would have seen.
Okay. All right. So you transform, and as far as you can tell, nobody is really paying you the same level of attention or scrutiny as you were receiving prior to your disguise. And now at this time of evening, the sun has gone down, so many of the ever bright lanterns have started to become their glows are starting to react to the darkness, and they're increasing in their brightness. So now that you've transformed, where is it that you're wanting to go?
I would go to where we last saw Corlina, which I believe was she went inside.
It was an alchemy shop called the House of Repose.
Yeah, she went inside there. So I would go. I would enter into the House of Repose.
Okay. So as you enter the House of Repose, you see that it is largely an alchemy shop. They sell a lot of tinctures and potions of varying colors. A lot of them, basic alchemy check would reveal that they're, pretty minor things that will alleviate stomach aches or, simple pain relievers, things like that. Some of them will help, like, temporarily increase the like make your complexion more desirable. So lots of minor alchemical effects like that. Behind the counter, and a lot of this is all contained behind the counter, but you do notice a couple of sections where you see some more powerful potions, like potions of healing, as well as some other things that actually take quite a bit of skill to render. The only person in the shop is the proprietor, and he looks at you and greets you in the Arenali tongue.
Uh-oh.
Do you speak Elvish?
I do not. I just speak Common and Dwarvish. And I'll let's see, do I have anything that would help? Just Greece can't save me now. So Hamarath, upon greeting, he'd be like,
So he kind of looks at you.
He just grunts.
He looks at you strangely and then says some more in a language that you don't understand.
And Hamarath would go, like, and kind of like point gesture towards his throat that he's not feeling well.
Okay. Give me a performance check.
Oh, perfect. Let's see. 20 minus 1. 7.
Okay. So then the elf seems to he makes a sound and or like a gesture like and then he says more in his elven tongue, and he kind of looks at you expecting a response. And I think Dustin paused.
Yeah, I'm here. Hopefully.
Okay, you went out for a minute.
Hamarath would say, in common, having memory problems. Do you have a potion that can help?
So he moves up to you and then places a hand on your shoulder, and as he does that, his hand passes through your shoulder, because disguise self doesn't actually create any tactile thing. And then as that happens, he looks at you angrily and said, "Just as I thought. What are you doing in my shop, and why are you disguising yourself in such a manner?"
I'm looking for someone.
Then
And,
reveal to me your true form.
And I'll reveal it. I'll undo my form back to Hammerrath. So for just a moment, I was a foot taller, but no longer.
So he looks at you.
I'm looking for someone who ran this way. I was attracting a lot of unwanted attention in this form outside. I was hoping to be looked on a little bit more friendly.
A word of advice: if you're going to take the shape of a creature, you should learn to speak its tongue. You stick out like a sore thumb, even without. But give me a persuasion check to see how he kind of takes what you're saying.
All right. 12.
Okay. And then what did you say you were seeking?
What did I say I was taking?
No, seeking. What did you tell him you're looking for?
I said I'm just looking for someone who ran in here.
Okay. And why should I help you? Especially one as deceitful as you. How do I know you're not going to trick this poor customer of mine? And then that gets back on me that I directed them to you?
Well, you could say that I forced you.
Not very likely.
And absolve yourself of the blame. There seems to be a series of murders, and we're trying to invest. I'm part of an investigation agency that is looking into these.
Oh, then show me your identification. Uh-oh, we're losing Dustin.
And has been tied to one or more of the murdered parties. Do you wish to help seek the truth? If not, then I shall away.
He laughs. One seeking the truth who wraps themselves in lies. What proof do you have that you are even a part of some kind of investigation? Do you have anything to support your claim? Any identification?
Do we have badges?
No. Badges? We don't need no stinking badges.
No, like as Four Dagger Core or Red Halo investigations, do we carry badges?
You guys have never indicated having them or discussed what they would look like.
We have broached the topic, but we've not got them.
I can't hear you. Maybe you still. I'll stop my video, see if it'll work.
No badges, no business cards. I think we had a general agreement that it would be nice to have.
we have to procure funding for them first. Um,
Well, in order to be like an official investigative agency, you would have to have some relationship with either one of the organizations like House Madani or House Deneath, maybe another larger but independent organization. And when I say independent, not related to the dragon marked houses. Either way, it would need to be verified with a seal from House Civis as well.
None of those. Did we do any of those things?
No. I mean, back when you guys were running the Four Dagger Core in Precarious, those kind of credentials wouldn't have really mattered because that's like one of the poorest areas of Sharn. Anyways, poorest above the cogs. So something like that wouldn't have really been necessary, but now that you guys are operating up here in Oakbridge, it might become more valuable to look into that and invest in it. But you would have to register, and it would be a whole process. I'm sure Sharp would not care for it. And I think Jofar might be no longer wanting to engage in those kinds of shenanigans. I mean, I imagine Jofar left the watch for a reason. Too many limitations, too many hands tied by paperwork.
So that being said, when asked for any sort of proof of the investigation, Hamrath would say, I left my papers back at the office. So unfortunately, I have nothing to show you.
Oh, how convenient.
Yes. Well, anyway, I've had enough of your company and you of mine, so I bid you adieu, and I will walk out the door and head out of the area in full form. So I'll just head back to the office.
Okay. Yeah, too bad you didn't speak Elven. That would have been a lot easier situation. But all right, so you guys actually Jofar and Dag, you guys get back to the Sparkling Alchemist, and it's only a few minutes behind that Hamarath and Sharp returned with you. Return as well, I mean. So Hamarath comes in the door only a few minutes after you guys.
Well, I don't know what to think about this Coralina. On the one hand, it looks like she might have been the one that did it. On the other hand, if she wasn't the one, then she might be the next person they come after. And then who's this pain dragon guy? I don't know what to do.
In our discussions, it was a changeling, right, that came up. We thought it was a changeling that was involved.
Yeah, so some of the hairs that you found at the crime scene with Rocktar, Herfast, he was holding on to several hairs that Sharp was able to identify as belonging to a changeling.
It's kind of circumstantial, but it's a clue.
And I think we talked last time about some sort of spell or something, but that was like way above our pay grade.
It's not way above your pay grade, but speak with dead. So if you were to have a corpse and have somebody that could cast that spell, such as a high level cleric within the Church of the Silver Flame, or somebody along those lines, you could do that. The previous bodies that, such as Svans, Clemancer, and Borgo. Let's see, Borgo del Borde. Well, Borgo, his body, you don't even know if it was ever found, because you guys found his body before anyone else did.
Yeah.
So, and Rocktar, Herfast, not long after you guys found the body, the Watch came and did their own kind of investigation, and so probably his body is laying in what would pass for a morgue. Svans has probably been cremated by this point. Borgo's body may still be around. Rocktar's body is probably still around. So if you had somebody that could cast that spell, they might be able to question the spirits of those individuals. Drummer, being a warforged, it's possible it would work on him, but or it rather, but the problem is that the spell requires the body to be intact, and Drummer's body was butchered.
We could talk to the wizard dude and see if he has the ability to, at least, and then Sharp can make up his mind if we want to pursue it.
I think that's a good idea. I went into the gentle repose and, well, didn't think it through all that well, so I didn't get any additional information.
I was trying to look up what the name of that.
Chikor?
Chikor, is that the wizard?
Yeah. He is the proprietor of Chikor's Arcanery.
What about
It's too late for that tonight. I mean, we'd have to do that tomorrow when he opens again.
I think we talked about if there was like a true self spell or something to see whether someone was a changeling. Does that exist or not?
Oh, true seeing. I mean, I think it's a 6th level spell, so that's
Okay.
way beyond your guys' pay grade. And even if you could find somebody to cast something like that, the amount of money they would want is far
Right,
more than
okay.
you guys have.
Right. So so changelings, I would assume, have some sort of history, or are they like dwarves and elves in a sense that they have like a common history to get the
Yeah, so they're, go ahead and give me a history check.
12.
Okay, so that would give you basic knowledge of changelings. So changelings are pretty well known to exist. They're not like secret or anything like that. They're generally distrusted because,
Right.
obvious reasons. Many of them are in the entertainment business because, their skills obviously help with that, as well as, things like prostitution, and that kind of stuff. But there are a lot of changelings if you've been involved with the war, and especially as a higher up, or it's always suspected that changelings are in positions of engaging in high-level espionage, and so for that reason, many people assume that higher-level officials typically have changelings in their employ. I mean, they also make really good decoys for those who are wealthy enough or who have large enough targets on their back to need something like that. So the changelings are fairly rare, though. They don't have any kind of homeland or any place that they call home specifically. They make up probably 0.01% of the entire population of Corvair. At least those that are known. I mean, the other thing about changelings is you never know. So they could be much more prevalent than that too.
It's just 0.1 of the percent of the known, of the known population of changelings.
Yeah, so I mean that's kind of what's suspected. I mean, there's no real census in Corvair or anything like that, so it's not like that's a statistic that people keep track of. But people see them as being rather rare.
So this may be, at least this is Joe Farr's thought. This may be like way out there, but I would guess that the Silver Flame has got like a library.
Yeah.
I would try to at least my thought, to spend a little bit of time researching changelings. I'm looking for some sort of significant history. Maybe it involves a Silver Flame that a changeling would know. So my goal would be to find something that in their history that would probably set them off if somebody were to say something.
I wonder if they had any significant role in the war.
I mean, it's pretty, I mean, it's not like common knowledge, but it's accepted that likely any major incidents of assassination or espionage potentially could have been carried out by a changeling, since they're so well built for that kind of thing.
Because many of the victims were all the victims related to the war in one way or another?
So what you guys have gathered is that Borgo and Drummer were really good friends, and they were both involved in the war. I mean, obviously, Drummer was involved in the war. He was specifically built to serve in the war, and only gained his independence Warforged in general gained their independence at the Treaty of Thronehold, which was signed 2 years ago. And so that they've served together. I believe that you guys got some information that suggested that Svans also served during the war.
And refresh my memory. A couple of us went back to the church to check out the body of Svans, and I think they got some information. Was that last week? Last time we met, or a couple times ago? I don't remember.
It was probably a couple of sessions ago, but you guys found that he had a section of skin missing, similar to Rocktar.
Did we learn that he died before he fell out of the window? There was evidence that he might have been killed before he was jumped out of the window.
Let's see what clues you guys picked up there. I mean, there was blood spatter that you guys found on his white silk curtains.
I have, there was a puncture in his neck. that I wrote down.
Yeah. So then you guys would have gotten that information as well, which would suggest he probably died. Also, the wards in Sharn typically protect people from falling because it is such a common occurrence and likelihood. So the fact that the wards did not go off for spawns would indicate that perhaps he was dead before he had fallen from the balcony.
Well, that's a good question. How could you turn off the wards? I mean, or block the wards? Well, that's another thing that Crikey. I like that. Crikor might be able to help us understand.
Yeah, because that is a good question, because it's not only people that fall, it's objects, and typically objects that fall are still, the wards would activate under those circumstances, so that people below might not get, killed by things that are accidentally dropped.
So where is this mage then?
Right there in our town. Your character would know of him, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's not too far away from the Sparkling Alchemist.
Do I know him?
I don't know personally, but
Probably. I mean, he may have commissioned some work for you and some help with like some alchemical concoctions and things like that. You would know that he used to be an adventurer himself, never directly involved with the war, but he kind of like would do odd jobs for those fighting in the war, or he might work with security detail or various things that would require a wizard. He's since retired with his wife, and then opened this Arcana shop.
Well, let's head over. He's an honorable man.
yeah, I'm an honorable man. Should probably not be bothered this late at night. It's like 9 p.m., right?
Yeah,
Do I know-
wizards are kind of weird anyway, so he could be up. He could be burning the midnight oil anyway.
He runs a shop.
Would Hamarath know if he has a tendency to stay up late, or if it's like 9 p.m. or 6 p.m. closing time, going home, feeding the dogs type deal?
You probably don't know him that well to kind of know for sure whether or not he'd be willing to like see you guys at this late of an hour.
We could be having this conversation on the way back, on our walk back. It would be easy enough. The place is only a couple blocks from our office.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll just go there then.
Just see if the light's on or not.
Yeah.
So you open the door, and there's somebody standing in the doorway of the Sparkling Alchemist. A person is tall. He has light hair, very thin, and his face is painted completely white except for a couple of swirls around his cheeks and darkened circles around his eyes. Hamarath, you immediately recognize him as Arius.
Oh, his friend.
Reyes, I did not expect you to respond so quickly.
I didn't. The spirits guided me here. Well, they guided me to the Drowning Mole, but after a while, I decided I would try to find you here. How are you,
Oh,
friend?
Wise. I'm good. It's been a long time, Arius. I must say, you startled me, appearing right before, right here, right when I was least expecting it. Would you want to head to the Drowning Mole?
I could use for some stone piss, sure. And who are you keeping company with these days? And he kind of nods to the rest of you.
This is Dag.
Dag Nabbit at your service.
This is Joe. Well, Arius, I've recently taken up with this investigation services.
Yes, the spirits have indicated you require some help with identifying a murderer.
Nobody said anything about murder. Who's this guy?
He can talk to spirits?
Do I, for my time that I knew Arius, is it normal that he talks to spirits in this manner? Is this normal for Arius?
Yeah.
Or is this like something just like kind of taken over him, or?
No, this is definitely normal for him. He does typically need the body in order to speak with spirits directly. Although as a medium, he does kind of hear things within the ether, and you know, kind of will be guided by those whisperings. But usually not. It's not like he directly speaks with these spirits or like converses with them on a personal level or anything like that. It's so not like the Frighteners or anything. More
Gotcha.
like he just kind of picks up the static.
Gotcha. So it's like, yes, Arius does speak with spirits, or at least he's always said that he speaks with spirits, and I trust him. And then I'll like turn around on me.
That sounds perfectly splendid.
And I'll like turn to Joe and Dag, and like kind of, I guess you guys can't see my video. I'm trying to balance, like, you know, trying to like not have it cut out too much.
Can we tell what Arius? You can probably describe it. What is he, an elf?
Yeah, he's a Aeronali elf.
Okay. So what'd you do during the war?
I worked with Hamarath as he was our explosives expert, whereas I would gather intelligence from the spirits and from the bodies that we found.
Sounds interesting.
That would be handy.
You weren't an assassin, were you?
No, nothing so detestable. I truly did not really enjoy the work that I did, but it was necessary for securing Breland. And as this is my home, it was important for me to assist.
Who are these spirits that talk to you?
Oh, they come from all corners. All manner of experiences. Some manage to pass peacefully, others are taken quite violently into the veil.
I say, let's just walk a couple blocks down here just to see if Kryker's shop is open, and then we'll head over to the Drowning Mole or whatever it's called. To the
You
bar.
can do that. Sounds like a plan. Let's go.
All right.
And
With you guys.
Yeah, and on the block or on the walk, Hamarath would be like catching up, doing catching up with Arias. How's the wife, how's the kids, type deal. How are the
Mhm.
dogs?
Yeah.
Any new ones?
Well, they got a son who's like 50 years old, about to kick him out of the house.
Speaking of family, Hammereth, do you need to check in? Should we walk past your house? Or would we lose you for the night if we walk past your house?
She'll be fine. I get a hall pass every now and then.
I can write you a note if you need one.
I don't remember. Is Joe a notary?
Could be. I've seen them. I know what they do.
A notary in what sense? Most notaries belong to House Civis.
Like if Joe wrote a note, like if it could be notarized as like official.
Of course, it's official. I wrote it.
I think Silhana and myself would be best at that work.
I mean, there are many places where you can get things certified and notarized and all that stuff, but none
Got
of
two
them.
witnesses right here. Look at them.
None of them are as held to the same level of scrutiny as House Civis. Like House Civis, they're the if you have a seal from House Civis, you have a almost guarantee that it's not a forgery. Everything else, they have their own ways for that they've developed security and things like that. But so something for your wife, Joe could probably do.
Yeah. So
Yeah, you don't want to listen to that House Civis propaganda. Garbage.
In fact, if you showed up with a note that was notarized by House Civis, that might be more suspicious from your wife.
I will. Joe, I'll take you up on that hall pass. If you just print out the words hall pass, it should do. She'll know what it means.
I could write Sharp's signature. So he's officially detained for work.
I'm officially detained at the bar.
Well, that's what Sharp considers work.
That's true. The drowning mole is a lot of work. It takes an army to keep it alive. An army of a handful of us.
So we walked a couple blocks and passed the Priker Arcanery.
Yeah, so the lights are out. I mean, it's part of a tower, so there are floors above and below. But in terms of the shop itself, it seems to be closed. No lights or anything in there.
You satisfied? Should we come back tomorrow?
No, we can knock on the door. Lights out, don't mean anything. I start knocking.
I hate to disrupt him. We're gonna ask him a favor.
Well, he may not be home.
He may not answer the door. You may not appreciate us knocking on the door. Come on, let's just go to the bar. We'll bother the wizard tomorrow.
Well, Jofar's knocking is met with continued silence.
Come on, let's just come on. Hammer's mine. Let's get it.
Sure, let's go with his friend here. Let's go. Hang out with him.
Now, is Arias as I remembered him? Is there anything that seems different, or I guess off-putting in any way?
Not off-putting. He seems a bit older than you remember him. I mean, it's been several years since you've seen him. And elves, they age fairly slowly, but You don't remember him having like bags under his eyes, which he kind of does now. Hard to tell through the makeup, but you could tell.
So as we're walking there, we'll say, Reyes, you seem tired.
It's the spirits. They never stop speaking. It's hard to not listen. Sometimes my meditation is disturbed.
I don't remember the spirits being this active when I last knew you. Or not last knew, but when we last served together. Has something changed?
Well, living in a city such as Sharn, there are so many more spirits. So many new spirits, old spirits. It's hard. I'm actually thinking about perhaps relocating at some point. Somewhere a bit quieter than Sharn, where I can escape the din of endless noises and suffering.
Do you have any locale in mind?
Not as of yet. Do you have suggestions?
Well, I hear Karnath is kind of nice. If you don't mind zombies being,
Oh no, Karnath is just so distasteful with their treatment of the dead. That is abhorrent. No, I would rather stay in Breland anyways. It is no Arenal, but it is my home.
well, I've been living here for a while now. In Oak Ridge, and it's been fairly nice. I wouldn't mind getting out of town for a while myself. Unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of suggestions as a better spot to live than here, since it's all I know, besides where we've traveled to or we're stationed at. But if you come across any properties, let me know. I'm just between you and me, I'm looking to get another vacation house.
Well, I am glad that you are so fortunate in the matters of finance that you can afford such things.
It's like, whoa, wait. You have a vacation house? Why haven't you told us about this vacation house?
Well, I meant I want to buy a vacation house, another house.
I thought you said a second vacation house.
I misspoke.
Oh, well, that makes much more sense.
You see, it gets tired. I agree with Arrayas here. It gets tiring living in the city after a while. You kind of want to retreat to the country for a while.
At least here in Oak Ridge, you do get some sun sometimes.
That is true. It is a lot more. It's a lot nicer than some other parts of the city that I've been to.
So at that point, you guys reach the Drowning Mole, and there is let's see. There's an old orc who's acting as a doorman. So he kind of gives you all a suspicious glare, but then he sees Hamarath, and he kind of waves you guys through.
You see, Arias, I've got street cred in this pub.
Yes, impressive. And then you see old Gretchen, the blind winged tiefling, at the bar as always, and Happy Drizzy Prince is, of course, there in the corner getting drunk and looking at you guys with not too fondly of a stare.
Hamarath will make sure to ignore him. And call out to Gretchen. We'll have let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll have 5 stone piss.
Coming right up, Hamarath. And Gretchen gets to work on pouring the brews. And then, do you guys sit at the bar, or do you guys get a table?
You get a table, don't you think?
Yeah, we'll grab a table.
So, despite being blind, Gretchen knows her way around the bar very well, and so she very quickly and with surprising speed and deftness brings you guys a tray full of pints of stone piss.
I don't know how you guys drink this. Piss.
It grows on you.
You'd have to.
It goes down smooth after the first couple gulps. Cheers to Arrayus returning.
Cheers, Hamarath. Thank you kindly.
So you can actually talk with spirits? I've never talked to a spirit. How do you talk to a spirit?
Well,
Really be investigated or infatuated, interested in how is this even possible?
well, Dag, it is simultaneously very difficult and quite easy. If you have the natural talent for it, it is kind of like tuning a viewing crystal. You just and a viewing crystal is kind of like it's kind of a crystal, either it's usually a circle like a mirror or something like that, that is magically attuned to pick up like theater performances or things like that, so that you can from a distance view these plays or whatever. So kind of like Eberron's version of theaters or television.
You don't have one on you, do you?
And just start looking for bulges in his jacket.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it is something that is difficult to control once you find the talent for. It is hard to tune out spirits completely. It is hard to hone in on particular spirits, and often requires a great deal of focus.
but when you're not with your tuning crystal, though, the spirits aren't bothering you, right?
I'm sorry, I think you misunderstood. My work does not require an instrument such as a tuning crystal, but rather that is somewhat of a comparison.
I see. So how do you enter? Do you enter some sort of trance, or?
Sometimes that's what is required. Other times I can just look and listen. And he kind of looks as if he's trying to listen to something. And then his attention returns.
Did you hear something?
No.
Oh.
Nothing of import.
Wait. Nothing of import or nothing?
Nothing of import. The spirits, they never cease.
You mean there's spirits here right now?
Oh, there are spirits everywhere.
Can I talk to one? I've never talked to a spirit before.
Are you wanting to look or talk to somebody specific?
Hmm.
If so, I would need something of that person. Usually their corpse.
Hey, do we have that? Do we have that hair with us? Do we have that? Well, I guess we don't know if that person's dead or not. It's interesting to know. We might be able to get something from a dead person.
Yes, I've heard whisperings, not only that Hamarath, you were looking for me, but also that you may actually require my assistance in some task that you've undertaken.
Boy, could we? And I'll
Yeah.
look at Joe Farr and Hamrath.
Oh, yes. Well, I wrote to you, so this is doubly exciting because you have arrived faster than the post probably has managed to send the letter. But we've been investigating a series of murders, and one of the suspects is an Aranali elf, and unfortunately, none of us are Aranali elves. Who are able to navigate the social circles, or the culture all that well. So you're hoping. So I was writing to you to see if maybe there's something you could do to help us out. Get some pointers. Anybody that you might be friendly to helping us out.
And who is it that you are? Who is the suspect that you believe to be an Aranali elf?
Cornelia.
Corlina.
Or Corlina.
I do not know this name.
She's a dancer at the Bluebird Inn. She has a tattoo on her shoulder that she attempts to. It's interesting. It always seems to hide. You can never quite get a good look at it.
Well, tattoos represent the
she-
past, and it may be that she is trying to avoid her past or run from it. Not everybody is proud of the things that they have done. It could be a symbol of such a disappointment or regret.
Do we have anything from her? Do we have any personal effects from her or anything from her?
Not that I recall anybody getting.
Yeah, I don't think so. But there's been 4 murders at this point, because there's Svans and Drummer and
Yeah, 4. Svans, Borgo, Drummer, and Rocktar.
there's been 4 murders recently, and they all have some association, or at least some tie with this with Coralina. It just, we're not sure that she has done anything, but she seems to be at least running away, and kind of frightful. So she may be that she's a part of it, or maybe that they think she thinks she's next.
And have you asked her about these things?
Haven't been able to see her. At least in a personal conversation.
I think at least Sharp had tried to talk to her. Do you guys remember ever talking to her?
I thought
Yeah,
we were just
Joe
following
talked
her.
to her. Right, Joe?
Um,
Pete?
Right. It probably wasn't in the sense of casual conversation. Didn't you talk to her right after it happened? You followed her back to the
police station.
Yeah. But I don't know if I actually spoke to her. She was in there and I was in there at the same time. I may have spoken to her and she ran off, which would make sense.
Well, my first thought would be to try and speak with the girl. If she is at the center of it, she may be engaging in something less than kosher, but it also may be that whoever is after her or whoever is committing these murders may be doing it for her or to her.
Can you ask the spirits to see if she's still alive?
He tries to focus and takes a deep breath. No, I don't know. The spirits, they're not speaking much right now.
I do have an action point if you need one.
What would that look like if you were using an action point to try and fuel his abilities?
I would start to describe her performance and do a horrible job of trying to like sing the song wasn't she singing a song or something?
She was dancing.
Yeah, so I would try to mime the dance. I would try to perform the dance, try to, yeah.
Okay, if you're going to use an action point for that, go ahead and give me a performance check with advantage.
All right. All right. Performance plus 0. 14.
Okay. So as you begin to dance, and replicate these moves, I mean, anybody that's seen Coralina dance can tell that, her ability to move is far greater than Joe's.
No, Joe, it wasn't like that. It was like this. Use your hips.
Yeah, body rolls are really hard. But Joe, because you're doing it and you're also trying to recall so strongly the image of her dancing and what she looks like and even the atmosphere in the building as she danced that one time that you saw her, it does trigger something within Arias, and his eyes kind of gloss over, and then it's almost like a cloud kind of grows over his eyes, hiding his irises, just making them milky white. And after a few moments, he says, she is with somebody, a man. He is of black hair, seems to be human. He has spirits around himself. He is a caller, a medium as I am. He's stronger though. The spirits, they have a greater bond with him. She's crying. She is scared, and he is consoling her. Wait a minute. There's a crash.
Crash.
He's turned around and there's a strange stone that has flown through his window. It is... And then all of a sudden, he kind of shouts like a yelp, and he's knocked back out of his chair, and he's on the ground, and he's kind of shaking now.
Hammereth is gonna immediately just bend up. Reyes, are you all right? Joe, it's only been one stone piss. Calm down.
I'm going to look at him. Is Arrayus look? Does he still look elven? Is he changing?
He is still elven. He's not looking like he's changing.
Okay.
Rather, he's looking very distraught. In fact, like when he first fell and hit the ground, it almost seemed like he was having a seizure.
Mm.
And then he snaps out of it and he looks at Hammereth and he says, "He's dead. I've never seen such magic as this."
Who's dead?
This black-haired fellow?
He was ripped apart,
What? Where?
ripped to shreds by the spirits. They were compelled to do so, empowered to do so.
The spirits around him?
That stone, it must have been some kind of weapon. I can still see the after images. There's blood everywhere. Pieces of ripped flesh everywhere. The girl, Corlina, she's covered in blood. She's in shock.
But she didn't do it, right?
No, but she saw it. She saw everything that happened. And on the wind, I can hear a faint laugh.
Do we know where she is? She okay? Do we need to go save her?
I don't know where she is, but I can hear that laugh. I can follow it a bit. I don't know where this person is or who they are, but I can get the sense, this feeling. She's enjoying this.
She?
She is enjoying this. She's been waiting for this. Hammereth, if this is something that you are involved in, I would strongly recommend walking away. I've never seen any kind of weapon that was able to use the spirits in such a fashion.
Don't you think if someone can wield that type of power, they need to be stopped?
Certainly, but I am not going to endanger myself or my family. And he gets up and he drops a few coin on the table and he says, "I'm sorry, Hammereth, but I need to go. I would strongly suggest that you do the same." And then he looks to Dag and Jofar and he says, "It has been a pleasure meeting you, but I must be off." And then he begins walking out of the bar.
Oh, thanks. Wow.
The dancing does it every time.
Yeah, if you do that again, I'm sure someone else would die.
Well,
What do we do? Someone else has
that
died?
Arias left in a similar fashion last time too. He seems to have such a he's a penchant for the dramatic.
It sounded pretty dramatic.
But it seems that Coralina at least is not behind this, rather more of the victim.
Yeah, but it seems to be following around a little bit.
Sounds like she's some sort of associate, willing or unwilling.
What did we that mask, this was like right as I was joining, but we had this mask, and the power was stolen out of it.
So it wasn't a mask where the power was stolen out of it. It was a mask that was used to remove the curse of lycanthropy from Silhana and Sharp.
Gotcha. But then it ended up just like funneling the power of like that curse and funneling to somewhere else, and that's how it removed it.
That's what Sharp sensed. Whether or not that's actually what happened, you guys don't know for sure.
Gotcha.
But that's what Sharp sensed and said to everybody.
I just can't. I hate to think this girl's in danger.
Well, if I recall, this wasn't this other wasn't there another medium or a medium in training that she was friends with? That was the building. That was the building we went to in the era.
I'm sorry. I thought that was the guy that got hurt.
No, Mycon Pain Dragon is the Corlina's
Friend, the guy
side
friend.
piece
Mhm.
from that you guys got that from the letters that you found in her home with Rocktar. And Rocktar was her husband, by the way. So Mycon Pain Dragon is the one that she's been corresponding to, which seems to be that she was having an affair with this dude. And you believe because he was living in Shaylius, but he was not an elf like Corlina or like the others there, you suspected that he might be a medium of some sort, or was training to be a medium or something along those lines, because there would be a few other reasons that somebody would live among the Arenali, and also fewer reasons that an Arenali town would be okay with such a person living there.
But we don't think it was the same person that Arias just described.
You don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's ever seen Mycon. At least none of you guys.
It seems to reason that Coralina would have tried to. She was with Mycon, who had this penchant. Although Arias described this person as being much stronger than him, and supposedly Mycon was in training, but it stands to reason that this might be back in the Arenali district in that building. At least we could check that out, or that's where it might have happened. Whether or not we could get up there is another matter. Given our luck today, in that district, I don't know if I would suggest such a thing. At least not with myself. It might look a little suspicious to have a murder, if the murder did occur there, to have us show up later that day. Twice.
I don't know. She seems in danger, but she's in this place where we can't go. It's hard to communicate with her. The watch might have questions for her. If they had questions for her, how would they approach her? We're up to what, 4, 5 murders?
5.
Certainly somebody would raise an eye by now. It's only been a week? Not even?
Yeah, all this started on the 9th. And it's only the
12th?
evening of the 12th.
So maybe 4 days? So it's a lot of people dead in 4 days.
Yeah. Does I think we talked about this last time, but does the Arenali Elf district have its own watch, or is it like a neighboring district that covers both?
Technically, there is like a watch that is shared with that kind of oversees that district, but in reality, the Arenali handle their own affairs there.
Gotcha. Perhaps we could go to the Bluebird Inn and see if the proprietor can organize a wellness check on Cornelia. Or Coralina.
He kind of hired us to look into this.
Yes, but we can't necessarily do a wellness check without looking suspicious. But if her employer does a wellness files for a wellness check in the Arenali district, that will look less suspicious. Plus, as I recently just learned, we may not be as certified as we need to be as an investigation agency operating in Oakbridge. So we'll need to make sure we at least start the paperwork so that we can actually say we're an investigation agency with any sort of credit. Which I'm happy to do, but perhaps we can get the owner of the Bluebird Inn to instrument that so it looks less suspicious.
It's a great idea. I would probably know his name. We could talk to him even tonight if we wanted to.
So the proprietor of the Bluebird Inn is Graf Pendrong.
Yeah, Graf. Good old Graf. You can go tell him what we know and see if he can put an inquiry in.
Plus, we should report back on what we've learned to Grath anyway, since he did hire us to look into this.
That's a great idea.
So we'll get up from the drowning mole, and bar crawl over to the Bluebird Inn.
Hey, not without paying your tab.
Oh, of course. Wait, put it on Sharp's tab. Surely Sharp has a running tab by now.
Yeah, we'll say yeah. Fine.
It's under company expenses.
All right, so Bluebird Inn is currently open because, you know, it's an inn and tavern. So you walk in and you're greeted by where are they? You're greeted by Sarfina Pendrong, so Graf's wife, who's currently acting as the hostess. And she sees you and she says, "Oh, welcome. Are you here for dinner, or did you need to speak with my husband?"
Yes and yes.
I'd like to talk to Graf tonight if we could, Sarfina. Is he around? Is he available?
Yeah, sure. Let me get you seated, and I'll go and get him. So she seats you. It's a fairly quiet night at the Bluebird Inn, and then after a few minutes, Graf comes out, and he looks at you with like a kind of a hopeful kind of sense, and he says, have you found anything about Drummer?
Well, found a lot of things. The drummer is one of many, unfortunately.
What?
There seems to be multiple.
You'd heard about Svan, right? Of course, that's been a couple days.
Well, yeah, but that was just an accident, wasn't it? Or he maybe, was it suicide?
Well, our group here looked at his body and there's some questions. I don't want to say anything firm for now, but we just have some questions. There's some oddities. There's a puncture in his neck that we can't explain. And then Rocktar, he I don't remember how, if he probably wouldn't know Rocktar, right?
When you say Raktar, his eyes widen and he says, "You mean Corlena's husband?"
Yeah, he was just found dead yesterday, the 11th. So that was yesterday.
What? That would explain why Corlena hasn't been in. She would normally have a show tonight.
That's a reason we're here is we're concerned about her safety. And then Borgo also. And I'm forgetting how all these people are interrelated, but yeah,
Borgo was a bouncer of the Drowning Mole.
Borgo is gone too?
And that was a friend of Drummer's, right?
Yes.
So
he spent some time here with Drummer.
Yeah, so it's just all very concerning, and so we wanted to talk to Corlena, but we don't seem to be able. She spends a lot of time in with all those elves, those eccentric elves, and it's hard for us to go talk to her. Do you have a way to contact her or check to see if she's okay?
No, I mean if she's not at home.
Yeah, well, we went to check her residence, and that's where we found Rocktar, and she kind of ran off.
Are you suggesting that she killed him?
Well, I don't know. I'm not suggesting anything this time. First thing, we're concerned for her safety, right? And so
would like to see her in a safe place.
I mean, Rocktar, he was never gentle with Corlina. He had a temper, but he never hurt her, to my knowledge. This is so overwhelming.
It is overwhelming.
We if there's I understand that the Arenali elves like kind of keep to their own and handle their own affairs. I was wondering if we have a suspicion that she may be in one of the buildings there, and that's in one of the buildings there, and that she might be undergoing some sort of trauma. We were wondering maybe is there a way that you could put in a word with the authorities or the watch and the Arenali district, since you have since you're her employer. We were there earlier today, and I think our presence will not be tolerated much more.
I mean, I suppose I could, but isn't that what I hired you guys for? To address the situation? I mean, you guys are the experts here. Don't you have the contacts within the watch and everything to address all this?
And on the side, I look at Joe.
They're not very helpful.
Without unless there's did he ever give us any sort of official documentation that we were hired for this?
No. I mean,
So-
he wouldn't give you guys documentation. That would be something that you would give him as like a receipt or something.
So I think we need, in order to carry out these requests and this, we need some sort of, we need a more formal way, some more formal papers that we can use to not seem so like we're just commoners asking.
You're asking me for this?
No, we'll write up the document.
No, we're good. We'll draw something up. But
Because I thought I had hired experts. You guys said that you're an investigative.
Yes, we are. Yeah, but we took this job and we haven't formally signed it off.
You haven't formally signed it off.
Well, we need to write
My
a
Warforged
documentation.
janitor was murdered in the basement. Now I'm finding there are other bodies, and you haven't signed it off? What kind of investigative agency are you?
We're one that's trying to close loopholes now, just to make sure that when we do find something, we can officially report it and have it taken care of. Certainly you'd want us to get it taken care
Well,
of.
now I'm questioning whether it was wise to even involve you. I should have just went to the watch.
And you saw how much help they were. You saw what they did for Svan. They just swept it under the rug.
And I'm seeing that you guys can't even work with the watch, and you guys are needing my help to assist you? What kind of racket are you?
I'm asking you to put in a word.
A word. You want me to stake my reputation and my word on you when you guys are apparently not even truly investigators? You don't have official documents. You don't have a business license. You don't. What am I doing even talking to you?
We are using every resource we have to get the job done. You are one of those resources.
No, I am your employer, and now I'm no that.
Hey, if you don't want us to help you, then we won't. Right? You are a resource, and you can help us. Do you want to help us or not?
I don't even know who you are anymore. I thought you were
We
an
are
investigating
investigators getting to
agency.
the source of this. We have investigated 4 different murders. We are getting to the source of this, and we could use your help. Now, if you don't want to help, that's fine. But we're going to figure
What
this
help
out.
can I provide? I am a proprietor of an inn and tavern.
We just asked you for a favor, and now you're saying you don't want to help us. That's fine. We'll find another way. Yeah.
I just don't understand how. What?
You want us to
I'm
get this
not the
job done.
expert
We're going to
here.
use every resource we can do. Every resource. You are a resource. We need your help.
No,
Figure
no,
this out.
no. This is. I was your employer, but now this is done. I need you to leave my inn right now.
Fine.
Please leave.
Sorry, Graf. We'll get this figured out. Sharp will help us.
How well do we know this guy?
Well, I've been in this established every day for what, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Is he acting? Is this normal
He's
behavior?
obviously upset. The
Joe
our
Farr, if you
credentials
want to
are
do
not what
it-
he thought they were.
If you want
and
to do
there's
an
been a
insight
murder.
check.
Yeah, we're doing an insight check on this dude. 23.
Okay. He is acting very reasonably given what has just has been asked of him and the information that he's been given.
Okay, good.
So we'll get up. Well, thanks for your time, and well, we'll be in touch. Good luck with the watch. They're not going to help, and we'll just leave.
Okay.
Sharp's not gonna like this.
Well, to be fair, he hadn't even paid us. So
Yeah,
far
you
it was
get
just,
money out of him now.
so far it was just pro bono.
Well, they had an agreement where, he would pay the normal daily fee plus expenses.
I think we should probably make moves to get the requisite certifications to operate as an investigation agency.
We've been here a week.
I think we should start now.
You guys have been here a bit more than a week,
2
but
weeks?
only a bit more. Yeah, about 2 weeks.
And we just changed our name.
Perfect. We'll
Might
have
have to change it again.
Yeah, move on to our next district.
but that'll be the old like Red Halo Corp. The one that wasn't official. The new official one will be better.
Okay.
So I don't understand why he got so upset to do a wellness check on his own employee.
It's baffling to me that he wouldn't want to help.
Well, okay, so to be fair, the way that I was hearing it, because you guys were the experts and should be able to organize that stuff. Like, so when you said that you couldn't go to the watch, that you couldn't work with the official, people that would be handling this, that made him suspicious. And Joe Farr, you would get this from your insight check, that all of that made him very suspicious about whether you guys are actually legit. And then now also dropping on his lap that there's been several other murders that he wasn't even aware of. He was kind of shocked and overcome with a lot of information that you guys presented. And so he looked to you guys as supposed to be the experts. And if you're asking him for help as just a tavern owner, then that makes him question whether you guys are even capable of addressing this situation and finding out who this
Yeah.
murderer is.
So with no realization or recommends that we piece these things together, and we found these clues and did find this information.
Right, but he also doesn't know whether or not this is normal protocol. From his perspective, he's just like, well, when you said you can't work with the watch, why can't you work with the watch? That's a red flag for him. And then overwhelming him with the news that there have been other murders that he wasn't aware of, that's also that kind of increased his stress response. What did he get into?
He would have, if we gave him the time, he would reflect on the competency of the local watch, which has been described to us as very lackluster.
Right, but you may also have information that he's not privy to.
But he's probably worked with that local watch way more than we have.
To be fair, and this is something that you guys know, outside of this string of murders, this is a very, very quiet neighborhood. And the reason that the watch is so not up to par is because this is not something that they normally have to deal with in this area.
Yeah.
So that's their ineptitude is kind of related to the fact that they don't have this is the first time anything like this has landed on their doorstep in probably over a decade.
Now we had Padunk, whatever his name is. Is he all of North Edge, or is he just our district of North Edge?
No, just Oak Bridge. He's the head of the Oak Bridge Watch.
But each of the other ones would have their own, such as the Elf area.
Typically, yes, but the Elf area, because it is the way that it is, while they technically do have a watch, they handle their issues internally.
Yeah. They would have someone of their own that would handle it. So there would be someone that the local watch would work with to coordinate that.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Joe, would you be I know the watch. I know your reputation with the watch lately hasn't been too great. But perhaps the Arenali Elf area is an exception to that. Would you be able to would we be able to check in with the watch on that to see if we can arrange a wellness check?
We could do it. Sounds like a plan.
At least that way we don't have to necessarily deal with the Arenali elves directly.
Let's do it in the morning.
Right now it's probably 10 o'clock at night.
All right, so you guys are gonna go to bed, go to sleep, and then wake up, start fresh the next day?
Yep.
Unless we
Sounds
have
like it.
mysterious people at our front door waiting.
Yeah, that's right. We get there. Is there anyone else waiting for us?
No, nobody else is there waiting for you. All right, so you wake up the next day. And what do you guys want to do now? You want to go to the watch in Chez Lies?
I think we should at least do that. We
So-
can say that Coralina didn't show up for work, so we were instituting a wellness check.
I absolutely, or Dag absolutely did say we should check in with our local watch and let them know we're looking into this so we could handle these type of questions. And Dag was shot down unilaterally.
So maybe we might want to bring our own watch up to speed.
We can also do that. I think while Sharp is here, presumably Sharp is here, just kind of mulling around. Maybe he can get started on filling out the appropriate paperwork and licensure so that we can be licensed to practice in this area of the city. Just so we can get that piece taken care of. You know, we may have been fired last night, but guys, this can be improved. This happens to every hero. They get fired before the case is solved. Then they solve it and get put back on the force.
Thanks, Riggs. Murdoch. Yeah, all will be well if we actually figure this out without getting thrown in jail first.
So I agree, Dag. Let's bring our own local watch up to speed, and then reach out to that and Shay Leas and organize the wellness check.
I am apparently not reasonable in this. I don't know if we need to write this out in a way that doesn't make us look like we did it or overstepped our abilities or legalities or what we can and cannot do.
Dag, you're a genius. We should hire an intern to take these notes, and so they could be drafted up in a very professional way, and that would then can be presented as summaries of our cases. Dag, your Sharp should give you a raise. Just throwing that out.
Oh, gee, Hammerith, you're sweet.
I don't know how much he pays you, but it should be more.
It just says that right here in my junior investigator handbook that we ought to be doing this stuff.
I haven't picked up a pen in years. Well, I guess besides writing the letter to Irenaeus, that was the first time in years.
So, Jofar, what's going through your head as you're hearing this conversation?
I'm studying my little book, deciding what prayers I should bring with me today.
What was that book you were reading last time? Kings and Galifar or whatever.
Kings of California. I guess we can go to our local watch and talk to them.
You're okay with that?
Yeah, let's go.
Well, how'd they behave last time you went there?
It's a new day, Dag. It's a new day.
It's the 13th of Olaroon.
Nabbit Files, 13, Olaroon. We go to visit the watch. Go visit our friend, our hopeful friend, Padook Padunkadunk.
Padunk, Padook, Padook. Podunk, Padook, Padook.
New name, new day, new name.
All right. So you are greeted at the door by the Watchguard Bucky and Watchguard O'Hare.
So there's more to the staff than just
So
Padook.
Bucky is an orc and O'Hare is a Goliath.
Great.
And they're the first ones that you see as you walk into the watch. Hello, citizen. Can we help you?
You got this, right, Joe?
Sure. How's it going, fellas?
I'm well.
Is this the watch that's next to? No, this is a different one. It's not the one next to the Church of the Silver Flame, right? It's a different one.
Right.
Oh, where are we? I thought we were our local watch.
Yeah.
I would think they would only have one facility in Oakbridge,
Yeah. Oakbridge has its own.
and it would only have one, right?
Yep.
So whichever one that is, that's where we're at.
Is the boss in today?
You mean Sergeant Padook Padook?
That's him, yep. The Duke.
He's in. Who can I ask is wanting to speak with him?
Well, of course, it's us from Red Halo Investigations. Joe Farr.
All right, just give me a minute. And then the Goliath walks off, and a few minutes later, he motions for you to follow him into the building, and then brings you into the office, which has one of those frosted glass panels that says Sergeant Podunk Padook Padook. And then he shows you in, and the sergeant is at his desk, kind of filling out papers. And he says, without looking up from his papers, he says, "Can I help you?"
Yeah. How's your morning going?
Busy. What can I help you with? What do you need?
Lay it on him, Dag. Junior investigator.
Mr. Paduke, we represent the Red Halo Investigations. We just recently moved in. We've been here about 2 weeks, and we've been given our first case. And I apologize for not checking in with you sooner. So we got a couple items to discuss with you today. First of all,
So as you're saying that, he kind of puts his pen down and he looks up at you guys more intently.
First of all, we want to formally introduce ourselves to you and make our acquaintance so we are aware of each other, and we'll introduce each of us. And we want to make our presence official in your district. So if you had a protocol to set that up, please let us know. Is it the paperwork, who we need to inform, if there's fees or the licensing? We want to be legit. We want to enter this relationship in full disclosure.
All right. Well, you can see our administrator, John Hancock.
Very well. We'll do that, and we'll get that also. Now, I wish that was the only reason we're here. Not long after we got here, we were asked to investigate the destruction of the
Drummer.
The drummer. Well, Drummer was his name, right? He worked at the inn, and the proprietor there asked us to investigate. And through our investigation, we've learned of 3 other unfortunate events. One of which right here in our own district, actually a couple of them right here in our own district. Certainly you remember the case of Spawn.
Yeah, he jumped from his balcony.
And then there was Borgo.
We've heard no reports of anybody named Borgo. Who was he? The perpetrator of some kind of crime?
No. Help me out, guys.
He was murdered.
What?
He's murdered.
He was murdered.
So through our investigation of Drummer, Borgo was a known associate.
Wait, he was there. So somebody was murdered?
Yes.
Where did this happen?
In Borgo's residence.
Which is where? Also, you guys remember Borgo was a squatter living in a room that was kind of decrepit in a building that was being in the process of being sold for renovation.
Well, residence is a loose term as he was squatting, but I would describe to him where it was located.
Okay, you say there was a murder. How did you come to this information?
So we were tracking down a lead on the destruction of Drummer, which led us to his associate Borgo. And when we found him dead.
Okay, we'll be checking this out. And your names?
Yeah, we get that was part of the initial introduction. We would
Okay.
have given him all that.
Okay. He would also ask for each of your identification papers.
So is this a standard thing that we would just have?
You should have, yeah.
All right, so whatever papers we have, we would produce.
Okay.
We're gonna need these back so we can officially check in with John Hancock as well.
Certainly Mr. Hancock's going to see these also.
Oh, he's not keeping them, but he's writing down all the information from
And
your
we're just down the
identification
street.
papers.
We took over the old sparkling whatever.
Alchemist.
Sorry guys, my these names don't all come to my mind immediately, but my character would know them.
Yes. All right, so you say there's a murder at this location.
But it's not even done. I wish that was the end of it. There's also tied into the inn is Corlina and her husband, coincidentally or not, also has passed, but now he isn't in Oakbridge. He's in the other neighborhood.
No, he's in Oakbridge. Rockjar lived in Oakbridge.
I didn't think Corlina lived in Oakbridge.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, and then he looks at you and he says, "What do you know of Rocktar Herfast's murder?"
So after
That wasn't even publicly announced.
well, when we went to try to talk to Corlina, we found that happening. We got there right after it happened. And we followed her. We went with her to the watch. So that's what's confusing me here. We did go with, or Joe went with her to the watch. If they were in Oakbridge, they would have come to this watch.
I'm forgetting that part. Joe, do you remember what happened with that?
I followed her to the watch, and she was talking to Badukadook, and I think I was talking to one of their sergeants, and then tried to follow her back.
Okay, so Dag, you guys never actually interacted with, like, in anything involving this. Joe was just following her after she went to the watch, because that was her first stop after she left the scene. So his suspicions are warranted. So
We were just following up on Drummer, and it led us to all this. And we're coming here in good faith, trying to share with you the knowledge that we have, thinking that you ought to know it.
So what do you know about the murder of Rocktar?
Just that it happened. And we're concerned for Corlina's safety. Do you know where she is?
Well, our guys cleaned the apartment as best we could. And after we removed the body, we assumed that she would be there.
Wait, she came here after whatever happened. She checked in with you guys, right, Joe?
Yes, we've spoken to Corlina. We've taken her statement.
Okay, so, but now her husband's passed and her drummer, which would perform with her, has passed. and Drummer's friend Borgo is passed, we're concerned for her safety.
Well, we can send one of the watch to her apartment, but if she's not there,
We have reason to believe that she may have after the passing or after Rocktar's murder, we have reason to believe she may have went to a found solace in her
And a
partner, her other friend, who is in the Shea Lias. So if she's not at her apartment, perhaps we can send. Perhaps you can send a wellness check.
We can give the name, right? We found that she had associated this Mycon pain dragon.
Yeah.
In Shalias, and that if she was staying with this friend.
Yeah, if you could, perhaps you can help organize such a thing. Unfortunately, because we're not Arenali elves, suspicion, this sort of thing is met with great suspicion.
no, it's very difficult even for the watch there to actually do anything. The Arenali are very distrusting of people outside their circle.
Perhaps we can contact the watch there, and they can contact their liaisons, or however that handoff works. In the event that Coraline is still not at her apartment,
We'll send a guy to her apartment, and then he scribbles a note, and he says, give this to the watch if you're already going to Shalias. Otherwise, I'll send it by Civis Post. Just let them know that you need a wellness check on wherever. I can't promise they'll do anything, but that's the only way that you'll be able to get anywhere with it. Now, since you seem to know so much about this, since with Rocktar's murder, I'll need to take a statement from each of you, and you'll need to share with me exactly how you came to know of his murder and what it is that you witness.
We'll write something up and send it to you. Can we?
I'm afraid that you'll need to do that now.
Okay.
well, I wasn't there. I was at home at the time, so I have no statement to give.
And
what about you, little man?
All I can say is my friend Joe here was going to speak to her, and when by the time we got there, something had happened and we saw her fleeing. That's really the extent that we know. We just saw that something had happened, and we followed her to the police station, this office. That's really the statement. There's not much more to it.
So, Joe, you just followed her to the station, so you were stalking her? Tailing her?
Following a lead. That's what good City Watch do. Not sit behind a desk. Pontificate. Scribble out notes.
We were trying to track down any lead we could for the destruction of Drummer. One of those leads was Corlina.
Yep, and the bodies keep piling up. How many more?
Well, you better keep your nose clean, Jofar. Otherwise, we'll be slamming the book right on top of you.
It's okay.
I imagine Joe like glances down to Kings of Galifar. Big book.
So, okay, we've got her note. for the Shalia's watch, and we can go to them, and that'll be our next step, I suppose.
So, you ever in the war there, Paducah?
No. There was enough to do here in Sharn.
He's Warforged, right?
No, he's human.
All right, my bad. I thought he was Warforged. My note said he was Warforged.
Warforged wouldn't be this incompetent. So I don't want to get too much farther because without the others, just because we're getting really close to the end.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. I would think that we'd still, like, on our way out, we would speak with John Hancock and do start the registration process.
So I'd like to wait for Kurt and Sharp before that goes forward because I have a feeling that he might have some interesting thoughts about that, engaging in that process.
All
All right.
Well, we could bring the paperwork to him.
Yeah.
See how he reacts.
So,
But I would also try to with Baduk is just say, occasionally there might be things that come through your station that you don't think it's worth your time. And you could have an emphatic citizen and you might want to help them, but might feel like you can't. In those scenarios, feel free to have them come visit us at Red Halo, and we might be able to help them out.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We hope to build your confidence in us. And we can go on our way.
so how is his demeanor through all this? Does it look like he even gives a shit? Or is he kind of know everything we're telling him and he's just kind of acting like he doesn't?
He is, well, give me an insight check. And that could be for anyone.
Natural 20.
Ooh.
Oh, well, I'll just leave it at that.
All right, so he is, it's kind of a few things. So he is very indifferent about the destruction of Drummer. To him, Drummer is property, but since the Treaty of Thronehold made them not property, they're just property without owners. And so the destruction of Drummer is not really of his concern.
Okay.
Now, he was surprised to hear there had been a murder with Borgo. So he's going to go and check that out. And obviously, he's going to be very suspicious of you guys, in terms of, because you guys are the ones that are first reporting it. They're going to want to know how you came across it and all those details, and they're going to want to get a statement from you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in terms of Spawns, he doesn't care one way or another whether it was a suicide or whether it was a murder. He's more, it's not complete incompetence, it's also a lack of resources because this is a nice area where there are a few crimes. This place kind of manages itself, so they don't really have the normal resources to be conducting that kind of investigation when it's something that could be easily shoved under the rug. So that's kind of what he's doing with that. But now with the murder of Rocktar, and it being clearly a murder, and with Corlina having all but witnessed it, that's now causing an escalation in his concern. So he was really concerned that you guys knew about it since it hasn't even been released to the public yet. And he was suspicious of you, Jofar, because you basically admitted to kind of stalking her. even though you may have just been following her from the building to the watch, you know, he's grown, he's now kind of suspicious of what you might have been doing and why you were there even at the time. So I think that covers it. Is there any other questions that you had about Podunk Badook Badook?
When you said Svans, you mean the art dealer, right?
Yes.
Okay. I can never spell his name right. I just write art dealer.
Yeah, he was the first guy to bite it.
Right, right. Okay. Does he look organized? Is his office desk organized? Does it look like he?
It actually is. Yeah.
Okay.
And if you got a glimpse of the paperwork he was working on, it all had to do with the murder, and there was a ton of paperwork that he was trying to get through for it.
Okay.
A lot of it, you could tell, were requisition forms trying to get resources to deal with it.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any questions.
All right. Grab the paperwork from Mr. Hancock,
Mhm.
and we'll head back to the office. Maybe by then, Sharp will be awake.
Yeah. Out of his drunken stupor. You know, any time before 11, that's iffy for him to be awake and sober. So what did people think? I know it was a shorter session. I know it was kind of, I was trying to simultaneously speed things up, but also slow things down so that people didn't miss out. So any thoughts, comments, critiques, things they would have liked to see different, or things that people liked about the session tonight?
I didn't think of I haven't really used Disguise Self, so I will keep it in mind next time to also keep in to focus with the language as well. Didn't think of that, but it didn't take too much time to kind of work that piece out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was good.
Look forward to playing more regularly.
Yeah.
Yes. Now that I have
How are you,
recovered
by
from
the
my
way?
hip, I have more range of motion than I ever thought possible, and with that leg now. Like, it's even better than when I was a kid, because even as a kid, my hip was kind of messed up, because it's kind of a genetic thing. Like, I just had bad joints when it came to my right hip. So like I can actually bring my knees to my chest. I can, I can
Do the splits now?
not quite there yet, but working on it. No, another thing, because you and Peter haven't seen me walk, but Dustin, I'm sure that you recall that when I walk, like, my left foot is straight and my right foot is usually at an angle like this.
Yep.
Now it's actually straight.
Oh.
I have two straight feet. And my walk has been described as like a lurch or a lumber.
Oh boy.
And now it's not so much that. It's like more of a normal walk. I wish I would have had this done 10 years ago. See how
Well, they don't last for the replacement has a shelf life, doesn't it? No?
not really. Like now
replacements.
modern replacements can last 20, 30 years.
Wow.
Knee replacements are a little bit more complicated, but even those are lasting longer than they used to.
20, 30 years means you're what? I'm guessing 30, 40? somewhere.
36.
Yeah. So when you're 56 or even 66.
You know, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
You know, by that time, either, you know, I'll figure out how to deal with it, or if I need to get it done again, then I'll get it done again. But it's an easier process the second time around, because all they have to do is basically take out, like, they open you up and they dislocate the joint, and then what they would just basically screw off the top, and then they wouldn't have to hammer any new hardware in, and then it would be just resurfacing the socket.
Cool.
So
I'm glad it's turned out for you.
Yeah, like now in physical therapy, I'm riding a bike. Like, riding a bike was difficult before the surgery. It's interesting too, because when I would ride a bike before the surgery, I always felt like I was kind of like not centered on the bike. And it was because, like, my right leg would kind of go out because I couldn't bring it up, because it would be catching on that joint. So it compensated by a turning, like, outward rotation. And now it's like, I feel normal.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Hawk normal?
I know. Those two words don't go together. But yeah, so it's been a really good experience overall. The first few days after surgery were rough, but after that, it got a lot better.
Okie dokie.
All right. Well, I'll see you